Everyone has a story. Stories have power. They help us understand. Jessop's Journal is a collection of powerful, positive, and inspirational stories. It's time for Jessop's Journal.
Hi, I'm Doug Jessop. Welcome to Jessop's Journal, where we tell powerful, positive, and inspirational stories. First up is a woman that has a very powerful story, and quite honestly, a powerful voice. And so, yes, of course, she is going to be our musical guest.
I couldn't look into your crying eyes. I didn't want to see it. I left, but I refused to say goodbye, 'cause I couldn't believe it.
Life is never boring, and I am positive that comedian Shayne Smith is not boring.
I had so many, and then I wanted more, and so they're just art. But a lot of them, like for instance, my throat is 3X's. It represents straight edge, which is a punk rock subculture that's all about sobriety.
I've had the opportunity to interview lots of inspirational experts over the years. Trisha O'Hare has some advice on how to get a better night's sleep.
Close their mouth, breathe through their nose, they get the first good night's sleep.
But first, Ashley Hess.
Well, I don't usually get like that.
Hello!
Great to see you, Ashley.
Me too.
Let's go chat. Ashley, it's time to sign into Jessop's Journal.
Okay.
But it feels like just yesterday.
I'm honored.
When I look into those blue-green eyes and I could finally see it, I almost didn't say the word.
With me today, Ashley Hess. Ashley, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You know, it's interesting. Ashley Hess, people going, okay, who the heck is this person? But some people might actually kind of know you. But I actually found out about you because of an interview I did with a gentleman by the name of Jay Warren.
Yeah, Jay's the best. He's
Okay.
awesome.
Jay is a very, very talented musician. And I'm just saying that, you kind of are giving him a run for his money. Sorry, Jay. I'm just saying, okay. Why would people know you musically, you think?
I mean, I would hope that they've heard my songs, but I am 99.9% of people know me from American Idol.
The broken heart.
So how in the world did you get into the music thing? Not just Idol, but just music as a
Yeah,
whole.
I feel like my story, my journey to music is not typical for most artists. I've always loved music. Like, my dad has an incredible voice, my mom plays the piano. So music was always around in my house, but I was more into sports. Music was more of a hobby for me. And I moved to Utah right after high school thinking I wanted to be a dental hygienist, because the Utah Valley University has a great program out here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was doing that, and I realized very quickly I didn't want to do that. So I just kind of was thinking like, okay, well, what do I want to do? And I had some friends that were in the local music scene, and I saw a lot of people in Utah that were pursuing music, and it caught me off guard. I mean, you don't think of Utah as being a place on the map for music at all, really. And so it just really sparked my interest, and because it's always been something that I love, and I was like, well, I'll just kind of like pick this up kind of as a hobby still, and it just grew and grew. And I initially started releasing videos on YouTube, just covers of other people's songs. And I met a guy, Eric Thane, who's an incredible videographer, and he also does music production. So we did these high quality productions of cover songs, and I loved it. And it was fun, and I started picking up traction on YouTube, and I was like, okay, this could actually work. And after about like a year and a half, 2 years of doing that, I realized I don't really want to sing other people's music for the rest of my life. So, yeah. So I was like, well, I mean, my musical background to that point was, my parents had me take piano lessons in like 7th and 8th grade, and I played by ear, but that was it. Like I was that kid that was like dragging my feet to practice, like, I don't want to do this is stupid, whatever. Mm-hmm. I just want to play soccer, I just want to play volleyball. But I could always play by ear. Like, I could hear something and figure it out on the piano, which was great. But I thought that was wrong, because I'd go to piano practice and like be trying to read it. But I was just like, if you just play it, I can figure it out. So just play it for me. My teacher would be like, yeah, no, like you need to learn how to read music. But so I thought it was wrong. And so I just, didn't connect that until later, how much of a tool that would become for me. So once I realized I didn't want to sing other people's songs, I didn't want to do covers forever, then I was like, well, I need to learn how to write music. And so I just kind of started dabbling around in that, and then writing, and then performing more and performing my own music. And that's when I was like, okay, wait, this is what I want to do.
You know, you talked about the American Idol thing. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, what's the application process like for, I mean, we're going to pull the curtain back to the reality of, you know, I'm used, there's a whole bunch of cameras here.
Totally.
There's a whole bunch of lights, but, you know, people really generally don't know what happens. So.
Well, I didn't know either. And it's interesting because I had a lot of friends that had been on the show. So I had kind of an idea of what to expect a little bit, but you have no idea until you're in it. Like you think you know, and then you're in it and you're like, I had no idea this was what was coming. So it's interesting, I had just moved to Nashville, and I had a friend that had reached out, and he worked with American Idol, and he was a casting producer, and he reached out, he was like, hey, I really want you to come audition. And I was like, I just moved to Nashville, like I moved here to write and to network, like that was not even on my radar. But he was like, no, you really should. And he came out to Nashville and we wrote together, and it was awesome. And I was like, okay, like, I guess I'll give this a shot. But it's interesting. It's not really like what you see on TV. Like, it's not just like you show up and Lionel Richie, Luke Bryan, and Katy Perry are there. Like, no.
Really? Come on.
Right? That would be nice. But so I actually lucked out, and I did an audition in front of the executive producers first. So I skipped. There's a couple rounds that you usually do before that. But because my friend worked with Idol, and he was like a casting producer, he's like, I can get you an audition with the executive producers. So I was like, okay. So I went in and I auditioned for the executive producers of the show, which was so intimidating because they're like, you get to know them as the show goes on, and they're like the kindest, they're great people, but like when you're auditioning, they just sit there like this and they're just like staring at you, and it's like, okay, not intimidating at all. Let me just impress you. And so, yeah, I went and auditioned for them, and it went well, and they're like, great, we want you to audition for the judges. And I was like, great. So then I was able to audition for the judges, but that wasn't until like 2 months later. So the process is so much more spread out than you see on TV. But then I went and auditioned for the judges in New York, actually, and it was, at that moment, changed my life.
Do you remember the song that you performed for them?
I'm gonna sing Don't Know Why by Norah Jones.
Perfect.
Very good.
I'm gonna play piano.
Oh, great.
Good.
So I'm gonna swing over here.
Don't know why I didn't win.
I waited till I saw the sun. I don't know why
I didn't come. I left you by the house of fun. Don't know why I didn't come. When I saw the break of day, I wish that I could fly away instead of kneeling in the sand, catching teardrops in my hand. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, one of my favorite songs.
You obviously did pretty good on the show.
The word is called solid. That's about as solid a performance as I could ever tell you.
Thank you.
I really love that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You know, music to me is a whole different language, and it seems like, I hate to say it, but you know, some of the best writing comes through pain.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
So there's a little tagline that I've heard about you. You know, that you're a happy girl that sings sad songs. I mean, what's the deal with that?
Well, I feel like for me, music is such a therapeutic thing for me, and writing is that way too. It's just a form of catharsis, and it's just a way for me to express feelings. And I'm like when people meet me, I'm very like outgoing and happy and optimistic for the most part. And so then they hear my music and they're like, are you okay? Like, are you? And I'm like, listen, this is how I process the feelings that I don't always share with people.
Ashley Hess, how do you want to leave your mark?
It's a profound question. Connection is a huge, it's just very important to me. It's for me to feel connected with other people, for me to feel connected with myself. I believe in God, so for me to feel connected with God and my maker. And so I think something that's important to me is to help other people, just unify people in that connection. And I think the best way to do that is through love and just through just spreading that. And that's the mark that I want to leave, is just helping people feel connected to other people, to themselves, to whatever they believe in, and just helping them feel like their life has purpose and that they are just beautiful human beings that are worth and worthy of so much, that I think sometimes we get down on ourselves and life is hard. Like you said, life is never boring, and it throws things at you left and right, and just reminding people that ultimately what's most important is each other and helping each other. So just that unity, love, and connection is the mark I want to leave.
Well said.
Thank you.
So I've got to, on camera, make sure that, I got your word here that you're going to save me seats, at the Grammys when you're up there, okay?
Oh yeah, I'm like, not if. When that happens,
okay.
When that happens, you got a seat.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for coming on. One of my favorite inspirational quotes is from Audrey Hepburn. She said, "To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow." Everyone has a story, and sometimes those stories are told through music. It's time for Jessop's Jukebox. There's a phrase that I use a lot called "life is never boring." Well, according to Ashley, relationships are kind of like that.
I didn't want it to end like that, but I told you to go. I don't usually get like that. I just thought that you should know. I couldn't look into your crying eyes. I didn't want to see it. I left, but I refused to say goodbye, 'cause I couldn't believe it. I didn't know that I could feel like that. I didn't know that you would leave like that. Why does love have to be like that? All the memories that we made keep running through my brain, and I know I should probably let go, but it feels like just yesterday when I looked into those blue-green eyes and I could finally see it. I almost didn't say the words out loud, 'cause I couldn't believe it. I didn't know that I could feel like that. Still holding on to you and me like that. Why can't love always be like that? Like city views and I love you and a fake tattoo. Like head back laughing and moonlight dancing, declared to lose. Like squeezing my hand 3 times to remind me that you're mine. I wish that things could always be like that. I hope that you remember me like that. Why does love have to be like that?
Yeah, I'm the TV hat guy. I've done lots of interviews, and yes, of course, I'm always wearing a hat. This one is called the Press Pass.
Well, I don't usually get like that. I just thought that you should know.
Our next guest is someone that you will definitely remember. Comedian Shayne Smith is known by the staff at 7-Eleven as Mountain Dew Guy. Well, put it this way, he recommends not getting a scorpion tattoo on your face. You'll find out why. Shayne, it is time to sign in, please.
Let's do it.
Well, today we have the caffeinated comedian, the tattooed troubadour, Mr. Shayne Smith. Shayne, thanks for coming on to Jessop.
Of course, happy to be here, man.
You know, you've been doing this comedian thing for a while. How in the world did you get into it?
I got into comedy because I couldn't sing or dance, and I had no other talents to speak of, and I didn't go to very much school, which, and by very much I mean almost zero, which people probably guessed. But yeah, I didn't go to school. I didn't have any talents. I was like, what should I do with myself? Comedy was one of the first things I thought of. Making people laugh seems fun. I went to open mic and I was like, oh, I'll just do this.
Yeah.
And here I am.
So where did you go to open mic the first time?
I went to open mic at Wise Guys. At the time, Wise Guys was at Trolley Square.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
How was the audience reaction that first time?
Oh, terrible. Horrible.
Yeah?
Yeah, so bad. It's never, anyone who does good their first time is in for, that's a bad sign.
Okay.
I feel like you shouldn't do good your first time because you're going to do bad later and then you're going to be really bummed out. Yeah, I did so bad. I remember there was zero laughter, and then I said a joke about how it was like a self-depreciating joke about how I can't date very well, and the jokes were so badly written and not anything like what I do now.
Okay.
And I remember there was complete silence, and then audibly one woman in the audience like let out a ha, like.
Serious?
Yeah.
Oh man,
yeah,
I feel for you.
Like a pity ha. Or it's like she thought it was funny that I was terrible at dating. So it was really bad. It was so bad. Stuck with me forever.
So what was the first story that you remember that just really kind of resonated with people?
I don't tell it on stage, but I used to tell a story about a time a bully was beating me up in front of my friends, and he was much older. He was like 2 grades above us, and he had me in the snow, and he was punching me in the face, and I was laughing at him for punching me. And then he said, "What are you, stupid?" And I said, "I'm not stupid." And I had a book in my hand, and I held up the book, and I said, "I read." And all my friends at the time were watching me get beat up. They started laughing hysterically, and I was like, "This is so worth it." Like the beating was worth it for the joke. And even as a child, I was like, I'm killing it right now. This was cool.
Obviously, you've got a little bit of artwork on you.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Working on it.
I'm guessing that you guys ask this a lot, but is there a particular reason why you like to, because you're what I would call a collector.
Sure.
So, you like it from the art basis standpoint.
Yeah.
But are there any particular tattoos here that actually have a meaning for you?
I mean, quite a few of them, and that's right that you call it collecting. Most heavily tattooed people call it collecting, which I'm almost weirdly, it sounds sinister, like I'm up to something. But anyway, a lot of my tattoos don't mean anything. I just really like them because I had so many, and then I wanted more, and so they're just art. But a lot of them, like for instance, my throat, is 3 X's. It represents straight edge, which is a punk rock subculture that's all about sobriety.
Right.
So that's a big one. I've been sober and caring about the sober community and music and people, living their best lives and trying to be healthy since I was 14.
Wow.
So I've been sober for almost my entire life. So yeah, people are often surprised to hear that one. Quite a few of them have like family meeting, like I have my family motto, which is fight to the death.
Show me which one would be the family motto.
This one says fight to the death. It's the family motto. This is Darth Vader, a very meaningful gentleman to me. He leads the Galactic Empire. I don't know if you're aware.
I'm fairly, yeah, I have lived on this planet for a while. How does a kid from Fillmore get to New York? And don't say train, plane, or automobile.
I wish I could say that I wanted to get away from Fillmore. I was one of those people, but I actually enjoyed growing up in a small town.
Yeah.
I like cowboy stuff. I like guns. I like small towns. So I didn't resent it. I just, I don't know, I just ended up moving, and then I made friends, and then, I was in a band, and we traveled, and then I did comedy, and then comedy took me where comedy took me, and I've traveled so much that New York just felt like the next logical place. So New York it was.
Is there a difference between playing clubs in New York, LA, and for that matter, Utah?
Yeah, people in LA I think are a bit more sensitive for sure.
What do you mean?
Just in general, they're trying to read into what you say. You can
okay.
feel them watching you almost too closely, whereas when you're in New York, people just like, they're waiting for the punchline, they're excited to have a good time. And then people here in Utah, the audiences are top notch. People here just want to have fun. I'm not like a commenter. Don't take my advice. That's so terrible. Why would you ever take my advice on any, like...
I'm guessing you get a lot of people asking, well, do you think I should get that tattoo or this tattoo?
Always. And it's never good. They're always like, do you think I should get the scorpion on my face? It's like, no. Don't. Why would you ever? Don't get a scorpion on your face, everybody.
I know you're a big fan of Mountain Dew.
I am.
Okay, so the caffeinated comedian. There's one story that you tell about, here you are walking into a place, and instead of seeing all the tattoos, you're known as...
the Mountain Dew guy.
Tell me about that.
So that's very funny. What's interesting is I've put that test to the real test and moved to New York, found a new 7-Eleven to go to, and they, without ever having seen my comedy, also call me the Mountain Dew guy.
Really?
Yes, that's very real. So I would just go to the 7-Eleven that was by my house all the time, and I would drink and people are going to cringe when they hear this, I want to say 7 or 8 double gulps a day. Oof. So I drank a lot, so much so that people were just like, are you okay? I feel like do you drink water? Are you dying? And so I would just show up, and then they would call me Mountain Dew guy. They'd be like, hey, Mountain Dew guy.
What was your biggest break?
It definitely had to be, I recorded a special with a company called Dry Bar, which is located here in Provo. And they had me do this special, and I kind of thought nothing of it. Like, okay, I'll record this with them, and they'll put it on their website, and no one will ever see it. It'll never matter. Because as a show business person, you never assume whatever you're going to do is going to be this big hit or whatever.
Right.
So I did it, and it was like, okay, back to business as usual. And then it blew up. Like they recorded it, they put it on the internet, and then it went viral. And I have 80 million views or some crazy amount of views online, and that was the break. That was the one.
Is there a particular story that either you get asked a lot or means something special to you that you can tell us?
I worked for a nonprofit organization that serviced young kids that had developmental disabilities. Okay. So I worked with this young guy that had autism. He was like 11 years old, and he was great. I worked with him for many, many years until he was an adult. Okay. But at this time, he's about 11 years old, and he goes, Shayne, I want to go to the Lego store today. And it was my job to assist him with living. Okay. So I would drive him wherever he wanted to go for the afternoon. It's his afternoon. I'm driving him to the Lego store. I'm having a very bad time. He can tell that I'm having a bad day. I can't remember, I was fighting with my girlfriend or whatever. He can see that I'm sad, and he wants to cheer me up. So as we're driving along, he's in the passenger side, I'm driving. He reaches over and he goes, Shayne, you're the coolest person I know. And then he stops and he looks out the window and he goes, I gotta meet more people.
It's like build up and then, not so much. It's like,
So that one hurt. And I remember the first time I told that, I told it after it happened, and I thought, I was just kind of like venting it, like getting it off my chest, like, can you believe this? And it killed so hard that it almost was like, he really got me. Like, if he could have seen how funny they thought his burn was. I don't think he did it on purpose, but it was just like, man, he did me dirty. He got me on that. He sauced on me pretty hard.
So have you seen him since then?
I have, yeah.
How's he doing?
He's doing great. His lightsaber collection is growing. The staff at his work hate it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, thank you very much for coming on today. And
thanks for having me.
Keep killing it out there, man.
You too.
Life is never boring. Sometimes you have something I like to call the wonderful world of regret. If you've ever had a tattoo or permanent makeup that you've fallen out of love with, the folks at Tattoo Away have come up with a pretty cool system that literally removes the ink out of the skin. Did you know that some of the signs for ADHD are the same as sleep deprivation? Trisha O'Hare explains.
I always want to solve the mysteries and find out what's the cause of the problem. Not just treating symptoms, but really discovering what the cause is.
Meet Trisha O'Hare, the founder of a University for Dental Hygiene Clinicians, a dental instrument designer, and a published author. Her latest book is called Lip Zip, Breathe Better to Live Better.
It's a hidden secret. They don't even teach it in medical schools. When you breathe through your nose, nitric oxide is released in the sinuses that goes into your lungs with that air, and that will allow 18% more oxygen to be absorbed, reaching the brain and muscles compared to mouth breathing.
Adults aren't the only ones breathing through their mouths.
When parents find out about the mouth breathing and that kids shouldn't be snoring, and if you ask if they have signs and symptoms of ADHD, then they often say yes. So if we get the kids to close their mouth, breathe through their nose, they get the first good night's sleep. Those signs of ADHD are the same as sleep deprivation. So if we can get the kids to breathe through their nose and close their mouth, in a day you can see a change in a child's behavior.
To me, it would seem, though, if you're sleeping, it's not like you consciously can have your mouth open or closed. I mean, it just is what it is. How in the world would you even change that behavior?
It's a two-part change. First, you squirt your nose with a clear nasal spray. Make sure you can breathe through your nose. You don't want to tape your mouth if you can't breathe through your nose. So make sure you spray with the clear, and then you can use surgical paper tape, which then comes off very easily. And you just put a piece across your lips, fold one end in so you have something to grab in the morning to take it off, but make sure you are comfortable with the tape on and breathing through your nose. But what happens when your mouth is taped, your brain will keep your nose open. It's amazing.
There's an expression in my house, don't forget to breathe. Clear nasal spray washes away bacteria and helps me breathe better. So come on, join me. You know you want to. Take a deep breath and relax. Thanks for watching this episode of Jessop's Journal. It's my honor to be able to share powerful, positive, and inspirational stories on TV and worldwide at jessopsjournal.com. Here's the thing I want you to remember. Everyone has a story, including you. Everyone has a story. Stories have power. They help us understand each other. With another entry into Jessop's Journal, I'm Doug Jessop.